marketers. Deborah Eckerling here.
And I'm Keith Smith, and we host the MPN Meta Marketing Show, which is not just another marketing podcast, but the marketing podcast about all the other marketing podcasts.
Podcasts are booming, right? We love them, and people actually listen. They don't scroll, they don't swipe. Well, except maybe during the ad breaks.
But here's the secret. With the Marketing Podcast Network, your ads don't make people hit skip. We put your brand on shows that people actually want to hear.
That's right. We match your message with podcasts that make marketing nerds like us perk up and take notes, or at least nod knowingly, pretending they understand.
And don't worry, because we'll deliver your ad naturally. People might even think that we love your brand personally, which of course we totally do, unless it's a veggie smoothie, then maybe not.
If you want your brand heard without making listeners roll their eyes,
head to marketingpodcasts.net and catch marketing fans at work, rest, and play. Seriously, your audience is already listening. Make sure they hear your brand and not our awkward jokes.
Join the conversation, because good ads shouldn't just be tolerated, they should be enjoyed.
Yes!
You enjoy podcasts. We know because you're listening to one. Hi, I'm Jason Falls, the executive producer of the Marketing Podcast Network. We love podcasts too, so much so that in addition to providing you with the great episode you're listening to, we also help businesses, brands, and even individuals produce their podcasts. MPN Studios offers podcast consulting and production services to help you get you or your business its very own podcast. We've helped dozens of smart people, advertising agencies, and brands develop podcasts. All you do is record your content or interview. We take that and deliver a professionally produced audio or video episode, complete with show notes, transcriptions, and even promotional clips to use on social media. And our monthly subscription prices are hard to beat. If you or your company are jonesing to have your own podcast to establish thought leadership, drive business leads, or just have fun talking about your business or topic of choice, we'd love to help. Learn more at marketingpodcasts.net/studio. That's marketingpodcasts.net/studio.
Are you noticing your car insurance rate creep up even without tickets or claims? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry handles the legwork by comparing quotes side by side from over 50 top insurers, so you can confidently hit buy. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Jerry even tracks rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Don't settle for higher rates. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/libsyn today. That's jerry.ai/libsyn.
Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, the podcast where art, energy, and inspiration come alive. Hosted by award-winning intuitive painter Heather Eck, synesthetic artist, chakra expert, and spiritual guide, this show invites you to explore the transformative power of color, creativity, and spiritual healing. Heather's unique gift of seeing color through energy fuels her stunning spirit portraits and chakra-aligned artworks, designed to bring healing and alignment to your life. Whether you're curious about the magic of chakras, looking to unlock your creative potential, or eager to connect with your radiant spirit, you're in the right place. Your radiant spirit is calling. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Your Radiant Spirit. I'm your host, Heather Eck, and today I have someone really special with me today, Dr. Vasu Tolia. She is an artist who was a doctor before, and her work all centers around healing. So I'm so excited to get to chat with her. She transformed her decades of medical experience into vibrant, healing-focused artwork. After retiring from a distinguished academic career in the field of pediatric gastroenterology and tenured professor, Dr. Tolia channels her passion for wellness through abstract and semi-abstract paintings that explore the mind-body connection. Her artwork serves as visual medicine, I love this, by the way, incorporating themes of resilience, inner strength, and restoration. Each canvas becomes a therapeutic space where viewers are invited to experience emotional release and renewed perspective. Dr. Tolia's unique approach merges scientific precision with intuitive expression, creating pieces that resonate on both intellectual and spiritual levels. She has won many awards, been featured on magazine covers, and interviewed widely on different platforms. Beyond her studio practice, she dedicates her artistic talents to charitable initiatives. She collaborates with healthcare facilities to install healing art in treatment spaces, donates works for fundraising events supporting Children's Health Organization, raising awareness for mental health issues, women empowerment, gender equality, and children with autism. Her artworks provide serenity for families navigating medical challenges, offering comfort during difficult journeys. She's frequently invited as a podcast guest to discuss the realm of emotional and spiritual well-being on principles of neuroarts and how to transition to a successful second career rather than retire. Through her artistic practice and charitable work, she continues her life's mission of fostering holistic health, now healing through color, form, and community connection rather than clinical practice. So, oh my goodness, I am so happy that you said yes to coming on the show. I'm so excited to talk to you. I would love to hear all about you and how you made this amazing transition from the medical world to the art world.
Thank you so much, Heather, for inviting me to your show. It's my pleasure and honor to be here because, in some ways, we do similar things.
Mm-hmm.
Like we both try to heal, but with different kinds of practices.
Yeah.
And because I have always been a healer, now this realization that art can become very healing, storytelling, and help us develop emotional resilience, which is a great property for leaders,
Mm-hmm.
propels me to keep on doing this more and more.
Well, I'm so happy because your work is beautiful. And I love the way that you talk so openly about the healing energy and the healing nature of art making and even just looking at art. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know me as an artist, that's part of my business is art that heals, but you actually have the data to back that up, the scientific information to share. So I'd love for you to share that with the listeners.
Sure. If we are talking about passive viewing rather than
Mm-hmm.
actively making art or participating art in different forms, as you also know, art exists in so many forms beyond just painting and drawing. But
Yeah.
let's just focus about painting because we do that.
Yeah.
So, so whenever you view art, and this is called museum effect. So even if you visit and pass through corridors containing artworks that are healing and inspiring, it just the visualization stimulates, first of all, whenever you see in the back of our head is the visual cortex.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the transmission is first received, and all this happens in the nanosecond. You look at something and you are wowed. So you can
Mm-hmm.
imagine how these connections are so rapid and fast that activates the area in front of our brain called prefrontal complex. And that immediately starts releasing the good, feel good substance called dopamine. And when that is released, it immediately goes and calms centers in the inside of our brain, deep inside, called amygdala and hippocampus, and it takes away the fear and stress factor. So even if you just visit it and not actively participate it, you get all these benefits from doing it. And not only just art, there are other things called mirror neurons and things like that, which are
Mm-hmm.
very active when you see movement kind of art like dances and theatrical performances and all that. So there are so many ways that even passive viewing helps you.
Yeah.
And you and I know how much active viewing makes
Yeah.
you feel calm and liberated.
I love that. I love that. So tell us, were you a creative kid? Did you like art when you were younger, or did you always know you wanted to go into medicine?
I didn't have a role model in either of the categories, and I had virtually no exposure to art. Like the first time I drew something might be a little house or a sun or something just by
Mhm.
myself, but we didn't have art like this when I was studying in school. We were more into like exposure to some dance, and I did participate in Indian folk dance learning and all that, but I really had no exposure to drawing and painting per se. Later, my mother used to come and visit us every year and spend time with me and my children. And while coming here, when the children grew up and were no longer actively engaged with her all the time, she started drawing. And I have so many of her drawings. And now when I look at them, they're such beautiful works of art, like little mini, what you do, the little profile before creating a big piece of art,
Yeah.
that you would do a small sketch kind of a thing. So in retrospect, and I didn't appreciate it then, to be honest with you. I just
Hmm.
thought mommy is doing it. But now I know that when my mother was doing it, she was just combating being alone, being lonely, and just soothing herself and healing herself. Just
Hmm.
exactly as kids, we all grow up and grandchildren grow up and all, then they are not actively engaged with grandparents all the time.
Uh-huh.
And that's when now in retrospect, I see it and I am so amazed that I failed to see it then.
Oh, wow. So you didn't really have either of those two things in your life, but you set about into decades of a medical career.
Yes.
And then at what point did you sort of say, I need a creative outlet? I have to find something to do here.
It happened when I actually retired
Okay.
because I had to fill my space with something. I couldn't have lived in a void of being in lunch clubs and watching movies and all that. I mean, I already belong to a few book clubs and things like that, which is kind of intellectual and nice, but
Yeah.
that doesn't fill your whole day.
Hmm.
So I started thinking, and at first I thought of music, but it didn't gel. And
Okay.
then my husband suggested, why don't you try some drawing and painting? And that's when took some lessons, and it was an arduous journey to take those, become a beginner again when you have
Hmm.
been at the top of your other profession. It's it's kind of unnerving.
Yeah.
You are trying to create a new identity, and
Yeah.
it was those were tough 5 years before I found myself in art. And more of the liberation came during COVID because during that time we had no formal lessons or anything. So I was just dabbling in things myself.
Hmm.
So that's when I liberated myself from representational art to abstract and semi abstract art.
Oh, wow. I love that you say you liberated yourself because I think representational work is so hard sometimes because you're trying to capture an exact image of something, depending on abstract or photographic image. But tell me about what that first abstract piece felt like for you, because I think about what it was like for me to just sort of surrender to the flow of whatever it needed to be, right? What was that like for you?
It was very difficult to create something that didn't look like something I knew.
Right.
And having no formal art training, it's even more difficult to find depth and layers and all that. But I just kept on experimenting. And then during COVID time, there was a call from Washington Post on COVID art. So I prepared a few pieces and they varied in a range of things, but I submitted two. And
Okay.
one of them was considered amongst top 20 in the nation when they came out with their list. My artwork was there. I
Wow.
was thrilled.
Yeah.
I just felt like my medicine and art finally came together, that my purpose was being fulfilled. And the bigger joy came when the year after that competition, CDC contacted me and said they wanted to use my artwork on the cover of their journal on of emerging infectious diseases. And that issue was dedicated to COVID
Oh, wow.
and COVID-19. And it was very thrilling when they told me that they have gone through thousands of images and they keep on coming back to mine.
Wow.
And what I had portrayed in there was the frustration of the world
Uh-huh.
It is a little more representational than totally abstract. Like I have a hand from
Mm-hmm.
which we are trying to capture the COVID virus,
Yeah.
but it is still eluding us and is liberated out in the surrounding and the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did on that hand, I put stamps of about 70 countries because that's all the hand could hold. And I call that art piece The World United,
Oh, wow.
the response of the whole world to the pandemic,
Right.
to how fast and how efficiently the scientists created the vaccine, and we were able to get protection and better health care as we learned more and more. But the
Mm-hmm.
fusion of medical knowledge during pandemic is also very impressive as to how much we learned and implemented besides just preventive care about how to take care of those patients after a few initial learning months.
Yeah. And had you already retired by the time we hit the pandemic, or were you still practicing at the?
Yes,
Okay.
I had retired. To be honest with you, one of the reasons I had started creating COVID paintings was that my first instinct was to want to go back and help.
I'm sure.
And because of my age, I would be a high risk person. So
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do that. So this was my response by creating COVID art as to how frustrating it was not to be able to do something, but to express it on paper and canvas.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting that it was selected for a medical, essentially like a medical journal cover, right? So it was still, you were still channeling your medical experience and wisdom and knowledge into that piece, and it found the right audience
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
That's so incredible. So tell me how does your artistic process work when you start a new piece or a new series? What's your practice for going into the studio and creating? Are you looking for inspiration? Do you go into the studio and let inspiration find you, or do you kind of go in and go, I want to work on a series about blood pressure, or I want to work on a series about this? How does that work for you?
There is no lack of inspiration. Actually, I collect a lot of inspiration during my travels and just meeting people or even the events around us. We can't help but be affected by them.
Yeah.
Because I feel that as artists, our responsibility is not just to reflect or just react to whatever is happening, but we have to make that reaction gel with the viewers and
Mm-hmm.
create a rippling effect in them that this is how I feel also about this issue. So most of the times I think of only healing topics, but sometimes controversial things happen around us and it's disturbing at times and you
Mm-hmm.
have to react to it. But most of the times I only think of calming and soothing and inspiring things. Like I have done several women's series because women's empowerment is very dear to me.
Yeah.
So I have made figures. In my first series, when I was still doing representational art, I made 24 paintings of women in different stages, like right from being a daughter to a grandmother to all the roles in between
Mm-hmm.
and in different ways, but mostly representational. Like
Okay.
my recent series 2 years ago, which was called I Am Every Woman, which was based on Chaka Khan's song from 1970, I Am Every
Uh-huh.
Woman. I chose the theme from that. I created more abstract women forms, but also showed them in many different roles. So it all depends on what's going through my mind, but I
Mm-hmm.
think of a theme first before I start a series. So my recently I have a solo show going on right now. It's called Floral Whispers,
Mm.
and that is based on theme on the environment, like protecting the planet.
Mm.
So when I gave my artist talk at the reception for that particular show, I talked about how whatever you are seeing is not just a thing of beauty, but it has meaning behind it. Like, that the swamps that hold the water lilies or areas of the ground where some of these wildflowers and everything flow, they are all under different kinds of pollution exposure and all that. So we have
Mm-hmm.
to work towards making the environment more pleasant and not detrimental to the survival of our planet.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I think of themes and connect with different causes that mean a lot to me.
I love that. And your work is really deeply philanthropic too. You said it's used in healthcare environments and community spaces, and it sounded like too that you also find ways to give back through your art as well. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, I really want to be a person who gives back to the community. So
Mm-hmm.
what I have done is some of these missions that I have, one of them is women's empowerment and children with autism, raising mental health awareness, and also protecting the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm connected with three of the charities related to that, and I'm still seeking connection with some environmental protection agency. So I donate a percentage of the sales from my website to the charity the customer chooses. So that after they make the purchase, I will make a donation to that particular charity. And that makes me feel more fulfilled. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it makes the person buying it feel much better that they are not just beautifying the space, but they are also contributing to a cause.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It's both that their purchase supports you as a working artist and
Right.
that you with that purchase get to support another organization, but they're participating in that too, which is so beautiful. I love that collaboration. That's a brilliant idea. That's a
Thank you.
really wonderful idea. I was wondering too, like because of your work as a doctor, are there things that you've learned through your art making about the mind body spirit connection that you maybe didn't fully realize when you were still practicing medicine?
Totally. When I was practicing medicine, this traditional, what we know so much about the healing power of art now in last 20, 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even obvious. Like, when
Oh,
I was practicing medicine, the hallways were not filled with artworks or anything like that. So when I saw patients, especially because I was in pediatrics, I saw even the parents suffer when the kids suffered.
yeah.
And so we had to heal both, just the patient, but their parents also. And I did it through words and by giving medication and all that, but I felt something was missing. And to be honest with you, until I started to practice art to fill the void that I had felt when I left medicine, clinical medicine, that's when I realized that, hey, this is helping me. I'm so
Mm,
much calmer, better, more inspired. And I'm sure it's doing the same to others. So that's when I started to research more in the neuro arts. And I'm trying to connect with more with that, studying more neuro arts and
mm-hmm.
trying to create paintings with some of these properties that would be more healing.
Mm-hmm.
So on my palette, I would use more blues or earthy colors, but I love the flowers and nature and everything. So I use pastel as well as very vivid colors because I think the colors are also a sort of medicine
Mm-hmm.
that people, when they see it, they feel vibrant, energized, inspired, want to look
Mm-hmm.
at it again and again. That's what you want to achieve, that whenever they look at it, they get pleasure. And
Yeah.
not only just that, that when they look at it, they see something different every time so that they want to keep on looking at it again and
That's the beauty of an abstract piece too, right?
yes.
I love that. You're making me think about too. I read this book a few years ago. I think I've still got it called Healing Spaces. And it talked about the healing nature of different spaces on a patient's well-being and like the time to healing. And it talked about how if a patient has a window in their room where they can look out and see the trees and the grass and the sky, that that person is more likely to heal faster than a patient who's in a room without any windows. And I always
You
thought that that's so fascinating, the way that the body sort of reacts to nature as art, to the things that we get to see that are offering us healing that we're not even always aware of.
You're completely right. You're so right with that observation. And nature is the best healer. There is nothing like nature because it's forever new, forever changing. No scene is just static. You look around, turn around, and come back to it, it may have changed, you know.
Yeah.
So it's always challenging you to look at it with a new eye all the time. And
Hmm.
to a certain extent, to having a window is also like having a museum effect that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You see something nice and that gives you pleasure. And
Yeah.
when you have pleasure, you're going to be less stressed, and maybe your immune system is going to bounce off much better when you are less stressed and help you heal faster in mind and body.
That's really beautiful. What impact have you witnessed from installing your healing art in medical settings? Have you gotten any feedback from patients or caregivers about it that you can share?
Yeah, sure. They talk about that the colors appeal to them, they make them think of calmness. Like I have a piece called Calm
Mm,
that was recently purchased by a mother who was going through profound trauma,
mm,
having lost her son to mental health illness. And what it talks about, I have all shades of blue in it, like starting from turquoise to deep indigo blue. And it starts from the bottom with the dark color and goes, but it's abstract. So whether you're looking at an ocean, a body of water, or you're looking at a mountain and a sky, you can't discern, except that there is so much to see, but it's very soothing because of the different shades of blue.
hmm.
And cerulean blue also helps, so I have a little bit of that. So with those kinds of thoughts in my mind, when I create some paintings or try to portray an emotion. 3 years ago, I had a show called Symphony of Sentiments. It was a solo show of 60 paintings.
Oh,
I
wow.
had, where I had 22 erasure poems and 38 pieces of art. I tried to go through Plutchik's wheel of emotions and studied about it and tried to portray emotions on canvas. And I'm telling you, when I was doing it, I literally had to experience that emotion like grief, fear, awakening, confidence, those kinds of things as I made those pieces of art.
Hmm.
So, and sometimes when I didn't like when I thought it was done, but it didn't portray it, I might change the name completely because it looked like something different to me. As
Mm-hmm.
long as it was something I liked, then I thought of what kind of emotion it portrayed to you, and I would change the title. So it's always a work in evolution when you do it because you can't just have a fixed endpoint in mind when you want to make an artwork, as you
Hmm.
very well know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels like, too, you're really tapping into your own intuition while you're creating those, too, because you, I am somebody who, as an intuitive artist, don't set out to create a certain look with my work. I just let the spirit guide me as I'm working.
Yeah,
But you're right. I think there are times where I'll think there's a particular energy or emotion or healing aspect to a piece. But then if I leave it and come back to it a day or two later, I think, oh, actually, no, I'm seeing something different in this. And it's sort of like you're
yeah,
reading the painting in a
yeah.
way and letting that painting speak to you. Is that something that you experience too? The painting sort of tells you what it's about and how it
To-
offers healing for people?
Totally, totally. I completely agree with you because it's a very dynamic process. You can't have a beginning and middle and an end point that is fixed. You may have to change colors or direction of your lines or just go over it completely again if you're not happy with it and
Yep.
start. So it's really always evolving until I feel that, okay, this is it. I'm done, and this is how I feel about this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That becomes an endpoint. But sometimes a couple of years later, if that piece hasn't sold, you might look at it differently and want to tweak it again.
That's so true. I have a bunch of pieces that I'm looking at going, if this doesn't sell anytime soon, it's getting a makeover.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. So, given the fact that you so closely connect to the idea of art making and the healing energy of art making or the healing benefit of art making, have you thought about offering workshops for therapeutic art for people to join you in that process? Or do you think you want to remain just you in your studio painting?
At present, I am in my studio painting, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of this month, I'm talking at a women's entrepreneur conference. And then I'm conducting workshops on mandala making
Oh,
and also a workshop on a vision board series. So I think maybe this is a pilot and I will see how it goes and how I feel about doing it
mm-hmm.
again or on a repetitive basis. So this will be, I have taught medicine all my life because I was a mentor researcher and we had fellows and I had to give them projects like to residents and students also that did research with me. But art is a new field. I still feel like a newbie in this
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't started it from the beginning and it's been more intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to feel more comfortable. And maybe this pilot workshops will give me an idea about how I should proceed.
Yeah, yeah. At the very least, I think it gives you a chance to connect with the collectors and the people who are looking for that
Yes.
healing from you. I feel like you'll find it inspiring to hear it directly from them. And
Yes.
you've created a beautiful resource for the listeners too, a guide to self-love and transformation. What inspired that offering?
Because I feel that nobody's life is just a bed of roses. There are so many thorns all the time. And if we proactively practice some of these things which stimulate the neuroarts mechanism that I mentioned to you that gives us pleasure, no matter what that artwork is or art form that is, right from drawing visual arts to music, dance, knitting, sewing, cooking, whatever person likes to do. It prevents stressful situations. I think it makes you react or proactively makes you not react to stressful situations so you can handle it better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason for me to create these kinds of booklets and share with the audiences so that if they download this and practice that for a week, they will experience some of the things we discussed and maybe practice it in their life daily so that they can be well equipped to handle stress in their lives.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And stress is like the number one root cause of many issues, right?
Yeah. Stress, burnout, all these things, maybe we can proactively prevent. Heather, I actually think as a physician that just the way we are becoming so much aware of healthy diets, healthy lifestyle, like doing exercise routinely, needing certain amount of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
I can see that this kind of art practice in whatever form that appeals to the person becoming a fourth pillar of wellness for prevention.
Mm. Wow. Can you imagine being able to prescribe art making as a healing
Yes,
modality for somebody?
yes. I can imagine that, and I think we should certainly start doing it very soon.
Yeah,
Preventive measure.
I think you're right. I think you're right because we're so tethered to our computers and our phones. that yesterday I was feeling really grouchy, and it occurred to me that I hadn't been outside all day. And I said, "Can we just have dinner outside? Can we just sit on the back deck? I just need to hear some birds." I need to feel the breeze on my skin. And I think that we're so far removed from the natural cycles of the rise of the sun and the setting of the sun, and just the way that nature sort of informs so much of our lives, that prescribing nature walks and art making and yoga and meditation are probably major prescriptions that would help a lot of us feel better
And
overall.
let me tell you, Heather, that when you experience those kinds of pleasurable things like taking a walk in the nature or sitting outside and eating, like you said, it liberates the same chemicals that I talked about before without going through any kind of medical therapy or meditation.
Mm,
And when we get there in the studios and keep on working for hours, we get into a flow state
yeah.
because of those chemicals, those super chemicals that make us feel good are actively being secreted.
Hmm. So important. And I think it's something that a lot of us have moved away from, unfortunately, especially recently. If your art could offer us a message of healing for the listeners, what do you think it would want to say to us?
Sit back, relax, enjoy, and try to find whatever connects with you in that particular artwork.
Mm,
And I want them, obviously, they don't experience the same thing I do.
mhm,
But if it is something different and it creates some positive energy in them, then I think I have done my work as an artist. Because a piece of art without reflection or reaction from a viewer is not really art, right?
mhm,
Unless
mhm.
it creates some kind of a positive response, then it's not a good piece of artwork. Themselves and happy and healthy and being in this world.
Mm, that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much. Can you tell us where the listeners can find your beautiful work?
Yes. My website is www.vasutolia.art, and they can download this gift that I have for your audience. And you will be putting it in the show notes, right?
Yep,
So
for sure.
so that they can access it from there and practice it. And I hope it gives them a lot of pleasure and peace.
Thank you so much for being a guest tonight. I've so enjoyed our conversation, and I'm so happy to connect with another artist who feels so strongly connected to the energy of healing through art and bringing that healing out into the world to help raise awareness for different people and to really understand the realm of emotional and spiritual well-being in things like art making or art viewing. It's so nice to find someone else like that out there in the world.
Likewise, Heather, thank you so much for inviting me. And it was a pleasure to explore your art, your message also. And I enjoyed our conversation as an artist to artist.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Your Radiant Spirit. If today's episode lit up your creativity or helped you connect with your inner energy, please leave us a review and share your thoughts. Your feedback helps us spread more light to others. To dive deeper, visit www.heathereck.com for courses, workshops, and custom spirit portraits. And for daily inspiration and behind-the-scenes magic, follow Heather on Instagram at @HeatherEckArtist. Your radiant spirit is calling. Take the next step on your journey. See you next time.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.